Kroger Delivery has one mission: to deliver the freshest food right to your door. That's why our drivers are pros. Our trucks are refrigerated. And when it comes to low prices, we always deliver. With $20 off your first order of $75 or more, there's no better time to get in on the action. Mission accomplished. Restrictions apply. See site for details.
Welcome to MTP Boston. It's your boys, DK Sizzle, Dave Clarke. I almost called you the real DK, but he's not here. Hollywood Rayshawn Buchanan, and it's me, Michael Marcangelo. We're here to talk about the Boston Celtics, and then we're going to talk about, if you're a Patriots fan, the amazing week that we had. If you're a Bears fan, well, you might just want to get all the sharp objects away from you at this point in time. But before we get to that, the Celtics in the last 4 games have gone 3-1. There was a big game that we all had circled on the calendar. It was Golden State comes into the Garden. It was going to be the Garden Faithful's first chance to really kick the shit out of Steve Kerr. But we lost that game 118-112. So I'll start with Ray, because he was there. What are your biggest takeaways from that game? Are there any lessons that we can learn?
Well, for one, like the crowd was on 10 from the jump. Like as soon as we let people in, like it was like fuck Steve Kerr immediately. Like it was on 10. So that I loved. But just from a game perspective, I think that we learned that Golden State is better than people are realizing. And obviously being East Coast fans, and, Dave's only one of us that's on the West Coast. So he's able to see a little bit more if he's locked in. Golden State seems to be back. I think what they're 8-2 or 8, something like that right now. The addition of Buddy Hield and adding Slow-Mo, aka Kyle Anderson, has done wonders for that team. And, they had G League level type players the last couple of years on their bench after winning a championship. And I think that it started to show. So when you get 2 NBA fringe starters to be on your bench, it speaks to how well they've improved that bench. And once again, Curry is Curry, and, Draymond will be Draymond. But yeah, on the surface, like I said, everyone's getting up for Boston. And I think that's what, we saw on Wednesday. So I was mad they lost, or annoyed that they lost, but in the grand scheme of things, they lost the game on November 6th. Like,
Right, but I guess schematically, do you think that they exposed any weaknesses? Obviously, Jaylen Brown wasn't playing, so would you know?
No, I think that I wouldn't say schematically. I think that effort-wise, they took it another level where we didn't have it. I think that we were pressing early, mainly Tatum. He caught fire in the second half, but he really didn't wake up until then. So I think that for some people, they were like, "Oh, this is more of the same," despite the same team being in by 50 when healthy last year. We seem to forget that, so that was that. But I mean, listen, give credit to them. They came in, they did a thing. But like I said, to me, the biggest takeaway is that Buddy Hield is a phenomenal addition as a semi-replacement to where Klay Thompson was working. So they seem to be equipped to be a deep playoff team in the future.
DK, what do you think about the atmosphere of that game? And I mean, did anything that happened in that game worry you about what the Celtics could run into?
No. I'm such a fucking cocksucker about the Celtics now. Like, I'm honestly so smug about them. It's insane. I just realized this the other day when I was standing in line at Total Wine and More picking up my my weekly Happy Juice. And the guy behind me had a Celtics hat on. The guy behind me was like, Celtics? And he had a Lakers hat on. And I was like, okay. It's because this happens from time to time, right? In the city that I live in. And we chopped it up a little bit about basketball. And, he was like, LeBron and AD, like, they just need to. And I was like, yeah, no, you guys aren't even close to our level. It's shocked how far apart the Celtics and the Lakers are. Because I grew up, in the Kobe era. So we've always been chasing them. But how smug and shitty I was to him to then go and watch that Golden State Warriors game. I was just so unbothered by losing. Like, it was a game until the end. There was a comeback involved, which I appreciated. It was a game until the end. Ray's right that the Warriors are a lot better. There was a lot of narrative around like, oh, who have they played coming into this? Like, they're 8-1. Like, have they really played anybody? This will be a big test. Jaylen Brown wasn't in. Porzingis wasn't in. I don't know. I just didn't. when I heard the crowd, like my first thought honestly was like, oh, cool. Ray gets to be in like a sweet atmosphere right now. Like this is dope. I'm sure this is like a lot of fun because I've been in the Garden for some cool games, some memorable games. And it's like it's actually almost certainly my favorite arena to like attend when popping. Right.
Yeah.
So I was appreciating that at the start and I was interested in the game. Obviously I wasn't happy that we lost, but I was really surprised at how little I gave a shit. You know, like I was really just like, I don't know. I saw a lot that I liked. I still think we're like absolutely fucking insane as a team. And like that kind of come to Jesus of how good we are really didn't happen until we started this season. Like we won and that felt like kind of relief and like joy mixed with like, just kind of relaxation. I kind of relaxed when we finally got like another one, And this season I just started thinking about the team and I was like, I mean, even just now as you were talking, Ray, and you were like, Golden State's back. They have this guy. They have this guy. They've done this. Steph Curry's still Steph Curry. Like Draymond's hitting clutch free throws down the stretch because it's Draymond Green. And even though he's not a good free throw shooter, I think we kind of all expected him to hit those free throws at the end. You know what I mean? It's like ideally on paper, you'd want him at the line, but I was also like, I don't know, dude, you guys are booing him. That's like going to increase his free throw percentage because he's that guy, right? So even you saying all that, I was still like, I know we're still so much better than them though. Like it's just I just feel good.
At full strength for sure. Like that's to me, that's not debatable. Like I said, the frustration for some people was, I guess, warranted at the moment because I get why people wanted that game, and once again, we even talked about it on here, how bad we wanted to see that game come.
You wanted that game badly.
I wanted it badly, right?
I'm more down on it to be honest with you because you circled that on the MTP calendar really early.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, like I said, it wasn't again. Yes, they lost, but the game lived up to the hype. It did.
It was a good game. I mean, honestly, that being a neutral observer of the game, you'd appreciate it, right? Like it was a good little back and forth. And like, do we really want to play the same tired tape on this podcast where we all come on and go like, I know, but Jayson Tatum did that like, dribble step to the side. It was a pretty low percentage shot that he like could have made. I don't know. With him, the way he's been playing so far this season, like he's done so much of what I asked of him as he's grown as a player. So am I really going to harp on one kind of shot?
He's also, but I'm glad you brought that up because there's still some of that discord and that rhetoric out there about
That's
him.
what I'm saying. It's like, do we have to keep doing that?
Well, I think because people are he is someone that his game is always going to be nitpicked. Like I'm realizing that now. So, we've had our moments on here where we nitpicked the game. And once again, rightfully so. I don't want to make it seem like we were just.
I think we picked his game for a little bit. I think there was things he was doing that were like legitimately fucking egregious at times.
Yeah.
I think now it's nitpicking though.
Yeah. No, but now it's definitely nitpick because they won. And it's just like, they won earlier than what people expected. And so, so now, people are up in arms about that. But, he's getting to the rim more, which is something Mike has called for. He's passing the ball more, which is something that Mike wants to have.
The game looks great.
We talked about. So I'm like, that I mean, granted, this was another game, and we can get into this too, but like that left-handed pass he threw to Horford the other night, on a rope, and I mean, it hit him right in the pocket. Horford's able to shoot up. Like what?
It was one of those passes that like no matter who passed it to, that person needs to shoot and it's gonna go in. It's already got the sauce on it. Like the sauce is already there. All you got to do is put it up. Don't worry about it.
Exactly.
I swear to God, that's a real thing.
Oh, for sure. I think I've heard Eddie House and them say like the ball finds energy. Like that's one of those moments. Like and that
like having a game where it goes on fire.
Yeah.
But I think one of the things that I'm noticing is obviously still in early season. I still think that they're going to be the perennial first seed, the team to beat, the defending champs. But what this team is going to have to overcome this year, different than every other year that they've played, is that every team in the league is going to get up to beat them because they're the defending champs. So I guess from my perspective, even without Jalen, I was still expecting them to understand that Golden State was coming in there and it was going to be like their finals, right? They wanted to prove that they were still around. Yeah, it was a good game, but one of the things that you mentioned, both of you mentioned, is that Tatum he like woke up in the second half. That has started from the All-Star break last season to now. Because one of my biggest things about him was he would always put up 20 points in the first half and then just kind of sputter out. Now he's getting cooking in the second half. So I still think it feels to me like he's still on that warpath. Again, I'm going to say it every episode, that warpath for the MVP.
Yeah. No, I mean, and rightfully so. I think that we've also seen a little bit more first quarter Tatum too, because of what you talked about him going off in the first half. Remember last year, and I give Dave credit for this because Dave pointed out about how Jaylen Brown was just giving everyone work in the first quarter. Last year, I think Mike, you agree with that as well. So now we're seeing more of a shift where Tatum plays the whole first quarter and Brown plays like the first half of the first quarter, then gets his rest and then comes back to being at the second. So first quarter Tatum is becoming a thing. I think in he's 5 or 6 of the games, he's had 10 or more in the first. So, but to your point, Mike, it's good that he's now getting 10 to 12 in the first, maybe tails off in the second quarter, but then it gets another 10 in the third, another 10 in, the fourth. So, yeah, I mean, listen, he's engaged throughout. The big thing to me is not his scoring, it's the assists and rebounds. If those are at least 7 or above on each of those categories, we know that he's super locked in because he's not looking just for Jayson Tatum to score. He's looking for the Boston Celtics to score. So that's what I hope is the narrative all year with him. And I hope that he sticks to that mindset. And like they've been saying, don't skip any steps.
I mean, yeah, I agree that I think we've talked about his playmaking and his rebounding and Mike, I mean, you could have like a copy and paste of the sentence, just go to the fucking rim, when we're talking about him in Discord. Like that's Mike's catchphrase during Celtics season, right? But for me, it's like, yeah, I agree. I feel like I'm gonna sound like a little bit of a hypocrite because I have been part of this, like smashing this bell about how I want his playmaking to be better, like his size, he needs to use a little bit better for vision. Like I wanted him in the lane, I wanted him doing work in there, I needed him to have a post up game. I mean, there's hours of tape of me just talking about every other thing. But I think that Jayson Tatum might have been right about what kind of a scorer he was going to eventually become. He wasn't that. And it can be really annoying when a guy like thinks he's that and you're seeing that he's not able to do that. But quite frankly, this season, like the scoring is coming really easily to him.
Mhm.
Something looks a little bit different. And he's handing out 30 plusers,
Yep.
point games like on a regular basis now. And that if that continues, and we also see the patented Jayson Tatum post All-Star break bounce, if he's handing out 40s at will across this season, if he's making people hold 40s around Christmas time, if he's going in and playing like a healthy Clippers, say, and handing 40 points to Kawhi Leonard if he's ever playing basketball consistently ever again for the rest of time. But say this hypothetical actually pans out and it's like Kawhi Leonard, if he hands Kawhi Leonard 40 points, if he's done the kind of thing to Kevin Durant we've seen in the past, I'm going to be screaming into this microphone that he should be the MVP. Like, because that has been the qualification of every other MVP. Since I guess Russ is like, he has to average a triple double, and then we'll give him MVP year. Right. So I don't know, man. To me, he's playing super, super high quality basketball. And you say his scoring, isn't even the main thing. His scoring's crazy. I mean,
Right.
he absolutely is going crazy out there at will. And I think it was the game right after Golden State where he had 33 or something going into the fourth quarter. And it was just like, okay, yeah, like the dude is cooking, like his
Yeah.
stat
I
line
mean,
props for it there.
some of these games he hasn't even played the fourth quarter.
I know.
He's at 30 and
Yeah, they're sitting
or
down
he
early.
really could have had 40, maybe even 50, depending on, the night. So I just
But it's
want
the
him
way he's doing it, it's
yeah,
like he can do it at any I mean, this is the thing you were pointing out as we emerged in the playoffs last year. You were like, he's scoring at every single level. Now I feel like he's scoring at every single level pretty with like, and it doesn't look that hard for him.
no,
It
right.
looks pretty easy for him to score
Oh,
now. Like he's
yeah,
trying to get a
oh,
bucket whenever.
we knew that it wasn't hard for him, and that's what was pissing us off. Like,
Yeah.
we're like, "Yo, we know that if you do this, there's not a man in this league that can stop you consistently." Can they get 1 or 2 stops? Sure, because it's the NBA, guys are getting paid on the other side too, absolutely. But consistently going at the rim, I think, and, we're gonna get into the Bucks game shortly, but he was 13 or 15 from the line. That's almost 90%. I'm here for it because that means he's attacking the lane.
But
Um, it's beautiful.
additionally, we let's be honest, we're guilty of this too, but I think we were a lot better than the majority of people that are talking about this subject.
Mhm.
We're gonna talk about this when we get to Caleb Williams and the Bears a little bit later, after getting beat up by your fucking New England Patriots, which I told you was happen. So I wasn't even that upset about it because I predicted it because they're so terrible. But little tease for later. But we were on his fucking case from the time he took off a fucking Duke jersey and put on a Celtics jersey. Like everybody was on his shit, right? His best quality year one was letting the game come to him. Imposing his will, not so much. That's every single great player you can think of until like year 6. That's every single great player you can name until like year 6, 7, 8. The exception of Michael Jordan doing it against the Celtics in the playoffs, but still fucking getting swept anyway. So like whatever. The fact of the matter is the kid was really good at letting the game come to him. He was taking in a lot of information. A lot of things were getting computed, and he's hitting the years. He already got a championship before all those guys, a lot of those guys. He is now hitting the years where he can become the reason why they win a series anytime he wants. And if he can be like, the thing is, Steph Curry is like that, right? So you go play, just based on your original question, you go play the Golden State Warriors and Steph Curry decides that he's on a mission. You're just going to have to deal with that. You're just going to like, you might win. Like you can get yourself into a position where you might beat a team that Steph Curry is going absolutely bananas, but probably not. You know what I mean? Consistently over the course of the last few years. When I was watching him just like poke the ball out and shit too, I was like Steph's really cooking tonight. Like he decided some shit and he handed it to us in the finals. You know, like I don't like the guy, like as in my position as a Boston Celtics fan, but like he's really good at basketball, guys. Like, you know, he does shit like that. You're watching the evolution of Tatum, and my overall point being, we're still so early, and we already got one in the bag. We're just so impatient. This fucking generation of basketball fans, and I include myself in this, we're so impatient that we now are sitting and realizing that we have 6, 7, 8 prime Jayson Tatum years still to come if we don't do anything fucking stupid. Yeah, we're sitting pretty, guys. We can't be complaining on this show ever again because now looking back, it looks like we were just waiting. We were just not about the Celtics, about Jayson Tatum specifically. Honestly, I feel bad. I feel like I was hard on him, and I'm looking at it now, and I'm like, I was naive. Like I wanted him to be what he is now 3 years ago, and nobody's that.
At least you don't have to look back and watch tape of you saying that we should trade him. So like that's cool.
I did say that.
I know. That was dripping with sarcasm. But
yeah, because I wanted to win then. You know?
I know. I didn't blame you. I jumped right on that bandwagon. I was wrong. And everything you just said is right. So from one all-star to the other, Sunday, 3:30, the Celtics beat the Bucks 113-107. They came back from 20 plus points down in the third quarter. The two biggest takeaways from this game for me, obviously, was that hard foul when Giannis basically, elbowed Jaylen Brown in the face. He then went to handshake him. He pulled away because I guess he was kidding. I guess. But I love Jaylen Brown's post-game comments saying Giannis is a child. Like that. That is just, you have one guy that's joking around because his team sucks right now. He doesn't understand why. And you have the other guy saying, I'm just here to handle business. And that's Jaylen Brown. And I think JB being all business right now is fucking awesome. And then Giannis intentionally putting himself in the landing area of Tatum. And when I saw that ankle twist, I was like, no way is he going to be out for a couple of weeks. We got lucky there. But what were your takeaways from that game? DK, the Bucks are now 2-8. And what do you think about Giannis? Like, is he acting up, or is that just kind of who he is?
Oh, he's my mortal enemy. He's my mortal enemy from now until the end of time after that display. I was like spitting at the screen, and I wasn't in a good mood on Sunday. I don't know, for other reasons that we will discuss later on this show. I'm just not in a good mood on Sundays anymore. That's just a fact of my life. We'll see if that ever turns around. But yeah, I was frothing at the fucking mouth watching him because honestly, I've never disliked the guy. I really, up until that day, and we've played each other in much more high profile environments, but you know what? He's a situation he's never really found himself in since becoming an all-star in this league is being on a team this bad, that's losing this hard and getting it fucking handed to him by the worst of the worst in the league. Mike is doing a victory tour on this Doc Rivers take every single time the Bucks take the floor. But the one thing that was sort of solace for it was how they just decided that they were going to bully Damian Lillard, like it was third grade, like it was the schoolyard. It was the craziest shit, dude. They literally were doing it on purpose. They were like, this guy can't guard. Drew's mad still. I love how big that chip on his shoulder still is about that whole fucking trade. And like we made out like bandits if you look at that, how that all went down. But we bullied him. It was all borderline mean. I kind of wanted them to stop. Like there was one moment where Jayson Tatum just took it in the post on purpose on Damian Lillard and literally backed him out of the court and then just scored. Like just hit him with his ass until Damian Lillard was just gone from the basketball game and then just scored. And I'm like, Giannis, where are you at, dude? You're just being a little bitch. You're like, you're elbowing guys and doing silly honky nose faces at Jaylen Brown, the finals MVP. Because why? Because your team's like down and they're losing a ton of games and you're supposed to be the best player on the team and the leader of the team. And you're just letting your guy get absolutely fucking just sunned the whole entire time, just getting his head patted for the whole game. And you're just letting that happen. I'm the fucking defensive player of the year. I'm all grit. I'm all hard work. The difference between me and Joel Embiid is that Joel Embiid doesn't work as hard in the offseason. Like I'm always getting that work in the offseason. And now you're this guy. This is your like Joker phase. I don't understand and I don't mean Joker, the very good basketball player. I mean, you're like watching the Dark Knight trilogy and being like, I'm going to be this. You sound stupid. You shouldn't be calling people out in the locker room either, by the way, while you're on camera, because that was performative as fuck. And I didn't like that either. I don't know who he was talking to or like what the whole deal was, but that man, that's not the behavior of a leader. And don't elbow my close personal friend, Jaylen Brown, in the face, please. Because like, that's not, I don't like that. I don't like that. And I also did like his response, Mike, because yeah, he was like, I don't know, dude, I'm just trying to win games. That's what we do over here. That's, I think, what was kind of the insinuation. And that's not what they do over there in Milwaukee. And fuck that whole state, So here we go. Right.
I mean, the story became that because of how I said, like JB said, how childish Giannis looked in a moment. But I just love the response, right? Because there's many times we've seen this happen where they are down 14, down 18, down 20, and then mail it in, right? And once again, it would have been easy to yesterday, especially I think it was like a play in the second quarter where I think it was Dame. Like they played great defense for like 22 seconds. Dame missed like a one-legged three. And I'm like, wow, okay, it's one of those afternoons, right? So as fans, we can feel that way, right? Because you're like, okay, like they always go ballistic and five-star form. Like maybe they just don't have it today, on to Atlanta. But they figured it out. And you saw it early on, right? I think beginning of the third, they go on a 6-0 run. And you could hear the buzz in the crowd like, fuck, man, like here we go. And you could see the instant worry on Valkyrie's face. And listen, for the narrative of this show, for the narrative of our good friend Mike Marcangelo, listen, if the slander needs to be towards Dark Rivers, listen, by all means, I throw my hands up and say, cool, have at it. To me, I really put this in the hand, and once again, and that's the fun trolling side of it. But the realness of it is that ownership got impatient with Adrian Griffin, former Celtic, got impatient with him after being 30-13 last year and said, and because I think he made a comment about the NASA's in practice, or at least that was put out there. I don't know if that's true or not, but that's what was put out there. You relieve him of his duties. That's the problem. Once again, you were starting to get better with him as the coach. So, and then you see what Coach Bud is doing over there in Phoenix now. So this is really our ownership, right? Like I said, it's easier and more fun, and I get it to get on Doc because he deserves it. So I'm not going to sit here and defend that because he does. But this is about ownership. Ownership has not done what they need to do. When you're depending on guys like AJ Green, once again, AJ Green had a really good NCAA tournament, which is why he got drafted a few years back. AJ Green is not Pat Connaughton. He's not Dante DiVincenzo, who's now in Minnesota. So roster moves, coaching moves has led to this moment happening now. And honestly, it's beautiful to see. So I'm thankful.
Well, listen, I just, one of the things that DK mentioned, and even you mentioned too, was that after something like this play with JB, not to kick when he's down, but if Marcus would have made the remainder of that game about Marcus. And what Celtics did intentionally yesterday afternoon was after that, they went on a fucking run. They just decided, we're going to show everybody here that we're better than the Bucks. Like we're not going to get sucked into that. And
Mhm.
I love the way that that JB carried himself. I just think there have been a few instances like you and I talked about last week, the Grant Williams thing with JT. Now we got
Mhm.
JB getting some of that too, and they're just on a mission. It's like we're just gonna try and make plays to help our team win. That's
Yeah.
all we're
Well, right. And who knows? And JT talked about it after the presser. So I do think that he was looking to make it about himself a little because he talked about how mad he was after that injury or after that potential injury play. So I just think now their brain trust all together is saying, hey, yeah, be mad, be angry, but take it out through your play, not trying to be out more physical and doing something that's gonna not only harm yourself, but harm the team overall. So, yes, and 'cause once again, people are gonna listen to what you said, especially if this is clipped up from our wonderful producer Craig, and say, "He hasn't been here in 2 years. How many more times you guys are gonna stand to Marcus Smart?"
probably a
And it's not
thousand.
about yeah, sure. And it's like, once again, listen to the whole video and not just a 30-second thing.
Okay,
We're
but hold on.
speaking to
Sorry, because
I yeah, right.
you just mentioned that. So specifically, I want to talk to those people who are going to come after me for always bringing up
Right.
Marcus Smart about
Mhm.
for those reasons. He is the winningest Celtic of all time to never win a championship.
Right. Right.
He's part of that. He was a leader of that. So
Right.
3 years ago, or yeah, 3 years ago when he was the defensive player of the year, everyone's talking about we're going to hang up 36 in at the Garden. You
Mhm.
don't do that for people who don't win championships. So we've earned the right. Myself, I believe I have earned the right to say
Mhm.
I he made unbelievable contributions to our team. Right,
Mhm.
100%. When we needed effort, he was there. But there were also those fringe things every single time, which you and I had talked about both on this show
Mhm.
and in text before, that Marcus will try and take over a game when he doesn't need to, and it
Yeah.
hurt us. And in the situation that we saw, again with Grant and with Giannis, those that would have happened, right? That's we just know that. So for all those people that are going to come after me,
Yeah,
just remember, like we've earned it,
he might have swung on Giannis at the moment, which I'd have been
right?
okay with, honestly.
Yeah, but then
He'd have been suspended for 10 games probably after that getting
right,
swung on. No.
he would have made it
Um,
about Marcus.
right. Exactly. So I mean, once again, there was always the ultimate love hate, and people always uh referred to him as love and trust. So I totally get that. But yeah, I listen, overall in general, like their collective IQ as a team has risen to levels that we didn't think was going to be possible. And it
Yep.
goes back to the deal for Porzingis. It goes back to the deal for Holiday. And I think Steve Bopay, who was a friend of the show, brought up, to people talking, oh well, it's how is Milwaukee falling this far? Like when you have Dame and you have Giannis, and it's like, well, when you trade a now two-time champion, two-time All-Star, I think two-time all defense team member and Drew Holiday, you lose the glue guy. And I think that's what Brad noticed, right? So, we just talked about Marcus Smart. He noticed. He's like, you know what? Yeah, we're losing Marcus Smart, but we don't have anyone that can replicate that same level, if not higher.
Yep.
So to find a way to finesse Drew Holiday away from, Portland and essentially get that Marcus Smart replacement hit, and obviously, him contribute in a major way to a championship, you couldn't ask for more. So that's that. But I mean, as far as the Milwaukee Knicks, I know you were gonna bring up about more about Doc. Does he make it past, doesn't make it
Well,
past Christmas?
well,
Yeah.
the
I
first
don't
part
know.
of that would be, do you believe right now that are they falling apart? And the second part is, if you do believe that, should or does Doc Rivers is he still the head coach of the Milwaukee Bucks by by Christmas or New Year?
So they're definitely falling apart in the moment. I don't know if it cost him his job because, you know, pride is a MFer, man. Pride is huge. And I think a lot of guys want to be proven right about that decision in our front office about bringing in Doc. They want to be proven right about the Dame and Giannis pairing. So they're going to do whatever they can in order to make that work. Now, yes, they're missing Middleton.
As
Middleton,
always.
right? As always, right? Middleton has not been the guy really since they won the finals in 2021. So, there's a lot of things that they need to get right roster wise. I told my friend who is a Milwaukee Bucks fan, I told him, I said, bro, if I'm y'all, I'm moving off of Brook Lopez. Yes, Brook Lopez has reinvented his career. He has been awesome in his time in Milwaukee. Ever since he reinvented his game by, implementing a 3-point shot, it has changed his career in ways that he probably never imagined, which is why he's still in the league. And I think his brother might have been retired now, or he might be playing somewhere. I'm not sure, but either way, Brook Lopez has had a better career because of that 3-point shot. So I think they need to move off Brook Lopez. They play faster with Bobby Portis. They play better with Bobby Portis at the 5, because Bobby Portis' game fits more what the modern NBA is about. And I don't know, like, I think if they keep losing games the way they're losing, you may think about moving Giannis at some point. You hear rumblings about Golden State, you hear rumblings about Miami. And let me just throw this out at Miami, because I just feel like it. Y'all are becoming the Philadelphia Eagles of the NBA. Every motherfucker that wants to get dealt or think they're gonna get dealt, y'all think y'all get it done. And it's wild. I don't understand. Tyler Hero could not be around every fucking package. He's not that guy. He's not. I'm sorry. I'm tired of it. Hell, even Bam this year, y'all can say what y'all want down there on South Beach. I know y'all listening to this, and you can text me. My number ain't changed. Bam has not been where he needed to be. And I really hope that y'all have seen that Jimmy Butler is not the guy that y'all thought that he was. Me and Dave try to tell you in numerous ways. We laughed about it with y'all. We got serious about it with y'all. So I don't know how else to say it. He's not the guy. So, as I say to my kids, get it, got it, good. So I'll leave it at that. All right. I don't know. But like I said, Milwaukee, I don't know. Dave, if you have anything to add to that about how Milwaukee is kind of on edge right now, do you think they make a move? Like, what do you think they go from?
Well, the original question is, do you think Doc survives Christmas or New Year's?
Oh, no, he's going to be the scapegoat. He's there to be the scapegoat. He's there to be fired in effigy for the real rumblings of the team and the real issues with the team. But the real issue of the team, and Ray mentioned this at the beginning of this section, is the fact that they traded away a championship team to get Dame Lillard. They traded away a championship team built around defense. They traded away a championship team built around hustle and all the things that Damian Lillard isn't going to bring to your team. So, yeah, I mean, I really like Dame as an offensive player when he was in a market where he didn't think he was going to win anything. So it was like fun over there where he would just like go off from time to time against people. But I mean, chopping Giannis, you can't, right? Like, this is the thing. It's like the problem. It's the same sort of albatross that you're wearing in Philadelphia with Embiid. We've seen this happen in basketball over the last 20 years. Teams realizing that their guy isn't the guy. Teams realizing that their guy isn't the guy that's going to go get them a championship. And you'll still split the fan base if you part with them. You'll still split the fan base. There's no way to win. You just say, like, well, we had a great player for X amount of years. We had unless the absolute perfect opportunity walks up to your door. I mean, unless you're Danny Ainge and Brooklyn is like, I'll give you our next 10 years. So, and you're like, sure, here's my championship team. Good luck with them. I hope they're not too old. They are, like.
Mm-hmm. So let me expand upon that, because we always got to give a history lesson, mainly me, because I feel like I go deep into the archives and we're going into a little bit of Milwaukee history. So in our era, obviously, we've seen guys like Michael Redd, TJ Ford, even our very own Sam Cassell, Ray Allen, so on and so forth. So Ray Allen was dealt. I don't know if Michael Redd was dealt, but Michael Redd ended up leaving the team at some point. But even long before all three of us were born, there was a guy born, Lowell Sender, that became Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, and even he was let go from Milwaukee. So if Kareem Abdul-Jabbar can be let go to the Lakers, and once again, I know it's a different era, I know, but that man played with Oscar Robertson, who I won't say was the Dame of that era, because he was Mr. Triple Double. He was original Russell Westbrook in that regard. If you can move off of Kareem Abdul-Jabbar the numbers he was putting up in Milwaukee and brought a championship in 1971, you can absolutely move off Giannis. So I just want to, once again, I hear you, Dave. You are not wrong, bro. I'm just saying, just to add context, if you can move Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, you can damn sure move Giannis Antetokounmpo.
Yeah, what you're saying is the Milwaukee Bucks are a fucking poverty franchise, and they're going to remain a poverty franchise.
Sure, absolutely. Listen, you said it.
Jerry Buss was handing out $1 million contracts over here in Los Angeles. Like, if you're Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, you're like, sorry, I've outgrown in both size and metaphorical stature the Milwaukee Bucks. You know what I mean? And I mean, maybe that is where Giannis is at this point. I think that if he wanted to go, he could make that happen. I think in the modern NBA, I think if he decided he wanted to change the scenery, they would get a lot for him somewhere, you know. But you also, I don't know if you can volunteer trade him as that organization, because he's a proven winner.
Yeah,
you know, there's a way to put a team around him that gets you another championship to the city of Milwaukee. So it's like, I just think it's a lose-lose if you start shopping him. If he wants out, I mean, you could get an absolute haul for him still at this point. He's in his prime. You know, he's one of the best players in the league. So it'd be a monumental trade. But yeah, he goes somewhere. If he went to Miami, they'd probably win a fucking championship. I know you were just shitting on Miami, but it's like,
absolutely not. Once again, it's about who you had to give up. And it was just like,
yeah, that's true. Yeah, they're always like, yeah, you're right. They're always like, do you want Tyler Hero? Like, he's the fucking.
You just send a photo of the Packers. Great. Awesome. Beautiful.
Yeah.
I do think, I know, sorry, Mike, we completely hijacked this, but I love you, brother. I think he finds a way to where you are, Dave, in Cali. I think that, you know, I can see Golden State making a move.
Oh my God.
That would be awful.
That would be insane. But once again, they got the pieces. You got Wiggins, Kuminga, Moody.
They would just need to keep Draymond and Steph and get
what? You know what I'm saying?
They can pick everything else out.
Or like my homie that is a Milwaukee fan, he said, if we did deal him, take him, I'd trade him to OKC and get 1,000 picks back for Sam Presti, and you know, get some of those guys.
If you're Sam Presti, you could absolutely.
I mean, SGA and Giannis in the West.
I mean, they'd be a pretty difficult team to match up with for sure. I was thinking also the Suns, but like, if you're Giannis, do you go there? Are you like, they're gonna be healthy and like ready to go? There seems to be some dysfunction there. Like, what's going on?
Game with KD would be fun.
That's what I'm saying. It would be like, that would be like the crazy.
Game with KD would be fun.
You think switch him? You think send Giannis there for Kevin Durant?
I mean, that's the only person that I would there's no other, but like Bradley Beal. No,
that's true.
I mean, like,
then that wouldn't be.
Yeah, it's fine. And G, you my guy. Don't kill me when you hear this. Once again, I like Bradley Beal. Once again, we wanted Bradley Beal here in Boston at one point, so I'm not.
Well, Bradley Beal's not Bradley Beal anymore.
He's like Bradley Beal. He's not the guy that he once was, and that's okay.
Could you trade him back to Milwaukee with some name value, attaching like a several thousand draft picks over the next 100 years?
Once again, if you're in Milwaukee, you got to at least think about it. Like I said, not from Phoenix per se, but I think that, let's say,
they don't have any draft picks, right?
Yeah. OKC, Golden State, even the outside chance, maybe Dallas. Him and Luka would be who?
And Kyrie.
No, I don't know if someone had to be moved, but yeah, him, Luka, and Kyrie would be.
Yeah, I wouldn't like that. I wouldn't like that.
I mean,
let's not do this. Let's not put that out to the universe. Right?
Once again, we're partying, baby. Like, this is all hypotheticals. But I'm saying, I just think that. But what I will say
what about him and Ant though? What just as a hypothetical?
Yeah, that
make that work.
But yeah, that would work too. I think to Mike's previous point, and so I have to give us credit. We've been pretty spot on with a lot of deals. So let's move on. Let's move on. We've been spot on.
Maybe it's because we just name every possible deal. and that's what happens.
I feel like we know how money works in the NBA. We know who's cool with one another in the NBA. And then we also know which front office is going to be aggressive and say, hey, you know what? We're going to go for it now. And
we also know their situations. I mean, Giannis' situation warrants trade talks. in all
Right.
different angles, like
Right.
trades for players for him or trades for him or whatever it is. Like you have to talk about it because of, the fact is they're on a fucking absolute skid.
Yeah. Just don't trade him to somewhere in the East. Because I'm like, just don't do that. Okay, go trade him out West.
And there wouldn't be anybody left in the East.
I know
Like,
that's right.
we already are absolutely Joel Embiid's fathers.
Trade him to Orlando.
Yeah, they probably them
Trade him
or
to
New York.
Orlando. For Mike Ty, KCP. Don't trade him. Don't trade him for KCP. And like 3 picks. Cool. Get him out
And
of
dude,
there.
if you're Giannis, like, do you really want to go to the West? Like, Giannis's game is so, and this is what I like about him. It's so,
He's up and down though.
dependent.
He runs with the best of them. So
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's so dependent on his effort and energy levels and his defensive hustle. Like he would be getting up for so many more games against guys on his level that might be tough for wear and tear. I mean, I know we're into the nitty gritty here, but it's like he'd have so many motherfuckers to play in the West, and the way he plays, he'd be so fucking absolutely, as we say in Ireland, bollocks by the time he was in the playoffs. You know what I mean? It's like he'd be so fucking tired playing the entire West. He has fuck all to do over here. It's a big part of the reason why the Celtics look so fresh and healthy when we walk into the playoffs last year. We're just like, and we're watching the West hatch at each other in the conference final. And we're like, all right, well, we'll see you there, I guess.
Yep.
I liked it.
Love that.
So I just have a feeling that this next segment's going to go a little bit longer. So thus concludes the happy portion of this product or this program for some of us. Good week to be a Celtics fan. Bad week to be a Bears fan. The Patriots beat the Chicago Bears 19-3 in a shocking way. But before we dissect the game, for those longtime listeners that used to listen to us back in the college radio days, back in 2009, 2010, there was the best highly rated segment on the show, The State of the Sizzle, where DK would tell us basically whatever the fuck he wanted to tell us about that week. He has prepared a talking point for the Chicago Bears after this loss. So without further ado, for the first time in 2024, I will say, please give us a State of the Sizzle.
Thanks, Mike. This is the State of the Sizzle. This is an open letter to the McCaskey family, owners of the Chicago Bears football team. To whom it may concern, my name is David Clarke. I've been a fan of the Chicago Bears since I moved to the Chicago area at 8 years old in 1998. Some may think me foolish, and have even told me so. I could have had Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, and Dennis Rodman be my local sporting representatives. Instead, I had Eric Kramer, Steve Stenstrom, and Moses Moreno. If anyone's curious who those people are, they're the 3 men who played quarterback for the Chicago Bears the first year I was there. The first QB I really got behind, came after with 6th-round pick Jim Miller. If you were around then, you know who I'm talking about. These are not household names, though. Neither is Rex Grossman, the QB for the 2006 squad that made it to the Super Bowl. The jersey I was wearing the night of the Super Bowl didn't say Grossman, though. It said Hester. And I enjoyed having 23's name and number on my back as I saw him cut through the Indy kickoff squad and return the opening kickoff of the Super Bowl for a touchdown. And I don't tell you these snippets of my biography because I want you to know about me. I do it to add context to how long the Chicago Bears have been without a quarterback worth spending the money on a jersey with their name on it. When we drafted Caleb Williams, number 1 overall this year, I really thought we had finally broken that pattern after multiple decades of watching it play out. Now, as I write this, it's the Monday after we lost to the now 3-win New England Patriots, and it would seem again that on current evidence, I was wrong. On this Monday, November 11th, there are pundits, ex-coaches, ex-players, and fans across the world getting on social media and calling for the head of the man they deem responsible for this current evidence, Matt Eberflus. And yes, it's obvious that he is not an NFL quality head coach, that his aw shucks demeanor and new haircut do not an elite or even competent NFL mind make. We can, for the purposes of my argument, take that as a given, but I do not lay blame at his feet because it isn't the cough that kills you, it's the cancer. Matt Eberflus is a symptom. The disease, thy name is McCaskey. When Virginia McCaskey stole her younger brother Muggs Hallis's birthright, she plunged this team into decades of disrepair. I'm not going to entertain the conspiracy theories about Virginia murdering Muggs in this letter. The murder of a once great franchise is my concern here. The McCaskey family is unlike other NFL owners, as the team is the main source of their income. Without the team, they're not wealthy. Without the team, they're nobody. The next part is important. The Chicago Bears are also a team unlike others. They're a team that does not lose noticeable amounts of revenue in conjunction with their on-field performance. Winning does not get the McCaskies paid that much more because the fan base is loyal. They buy jerseys, maybe Grossman jerseys, maybe Miller, maybe like me, Hester, but they buy them. They buy tickets. They buy bobbleheads. They show up for this team, even when this team doesn't show up for them, even when the ownership never shows up for them. This story isn't news to Bears fans. Virginia decided she was a hands-off owner after the team started going to shit in the 90s, naming her son Michael as president from 83 to 99, firing him, then hiring her son George to the role. George McCaskey is the chairman of my football team. George McCaskey is not really a football guy, according to George McCaskey. George McCaskey has been in the role since 2011. George McCaskey has presided over 0 playoff wins since then. I have one simple request coming from a humble Bears fan that chose you over MJ. Sell my team, McCaskies. Sell my team. I beg of you. If murder and castle intrigue are spots on your karmaic resume, I leave you to sort that out with your God. And if and when that time comes, with me, you guys are square if you walk away from the Chicago Bears. Halas is the name that means something to this franchise. McCaskey means nothing, is nothing. McCaskey has to go, or we, the people, will be forever cursed by their deeds. They don't hire strong personalities and elite football minds to work for them because weak people fear strong people. They always have. Sell our team, Virginia. On behalf of the good people of Chicago, I beg you. That's it.
We are MTP and we are
Yeah.
English. Oh,
That was
great.
That was worth the wait. That was worth the fucking wait. Great job, DK.
Great win, guys.
So
You deserved it. You deserved it. You really did.
well,
Really great.
so
Drake May's
so
the guy.
question, yeah. So we'll get to that. But the question that I had was, as lopsided of a win as that, right? There are Patriot fans here that are saying, "Wow, like the team just they listen to Mayo. They're buying into his message. A stellar defensive performance." So should Patriot fans be happy about the outcome, or was this more of a Bears colossal failure of both coaching and executing? And I'll leave it
Very difficult for me to see it as anything but from my perspective. I mean, I really do think you could see a lot of positives from the Patriots. And I've mentioned it on the show, like across the entire season. You know, I think that there's things that are working. And the biggest thing is that Drake May really looks like a competent NFL quarterback. And, you know, you were saying like, I've never seen a worse offensive line with this Patriots team. I was like, wait until the Bears offense gets on the field. You know, I mean, I was saying this before anything had happened. And then you guys racked up like 9 sacks. You know, I mean, it makes, it's to me, I mean, this is probably wishful thinking. I've spent the whole day basically just thinking like anyone that's come out and been like, Caleb Williams is a bust because of that game doesn't understand the game of football. Like, who name me one time that a guy's gotten sacked 9 times and looked good. It's not coming to mind. So obviously this is a failure of coaching. It's been a failure of coaching for weeks. Obviously the Hail Mary broke their brain, but the Hail Mary was a failure of coaching. So it's a failure of coaching. I just think that the New England Patriots, at the very bare minimum, have people running their team that have watched a game of football before. I mean, I said there was 2 things that Matt Eberflus could have been met with on his Monday morning. And that was either a letter of intent to fire him or a blindfold and a cigarette. And that was the only 2 things that I could have possibly imagined he was going to meet when showing up to work this morning. But apparently we're going to just switch the OC again or something. Yeah, no, that's the great. No, it's awesome. It's awesome. Yeah, you played the worst team in football, it turns out. They didn't look like that for the first few weeks, but you played the worst team in football. So I don't know. I'll race you to a top 3 pick. Maybe we'll get that guard or tackle that we've been talking about for you guys.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know. You know, you can't. No, to answer the question, no, you can't judge anything off that win because we suck. We're so bad, and they've quit on the coach. It's terrible.
Right. You ever follow that?
Yeah, I mean, it's a mix of both, though. If we're being honest, right? I think that the fact that New England got their 3rd win this early, compared to last year where they didn't get it till December,
Positive.
It's a positive for sure. Especially when, like I said, someone like me was lamenting and berating them that they were only going to win 2 games this year. I mean, even at times 1. So hey, listen, from a coaching perspective, this is the best game that Mayo and AVP had by far. Like, it's not even close. I mean, even I want to throw in Covington as well there because I've been on his head as well. So schematically, they did what they needed to do. And yeah, DK, you're right, man. You told us in so many words that it was the beginning of the end after that Washington game. I personally didn't want to believe that, but once again, I'm not intimately watching the team. But when you have someone dancing in the end zone and then essentially being the reason why the tip ball becomes a touchdown, then you lay an egg against the Arizona team, who to me really isn't that good, but now for some reason they're
No,
forgetting.
the Cardinals loss was
Yeah,
worse. The Cardinals loss was the
yeah,
worst loss of the 3. I mean, the Patriots loss, I was like,
yeah,
I was resigned. I knew what team I had by that
yeah.
point. I saw what level of effort they were giving out there on the field. I mean, we had the potential to have a top 3 defense this year again, and they've quit on the coach completely. So because he was calling dumb fucking defensive assignments, like he decides to be the defensive play caller. It's supposed to be what he's doing. I'm just saying the same shit I said about Matt Nagy, except on the other side of the ball. Where he's just defense Matt Nagy. That's all he is, and
Right.
that's somehow worse
But
because, like, the offense is so putrid. I mean,
And
the
it shouldn't
defense is
be.
quit, and the offense shouldn't be, and the defense shouldn't be. See, that's why I don't wanna lay blame on the GM because I'm like, I like the players.
yeah,
It's like I do like the players that we have. I've liked it. They're all his.
but
It's not for bygone regime anymore.
it's like I have an issue when I hear that, it's like, and this is just in general, it's not just that specific to Chicago. It was like you said, and we've agreed about the roster being a really good roster, from Caleb to Cole Kmet, J.J. Swift, DJ Moore, Keenan Allen, Jalen Johnson, Tremaine Edwards, you name it, right? I mean, excuse me, to name a few. The talent is there. So my message is back to my retort is back to the players. Yeah, you may have quit on the coach, but you're playing for a job still. How do you back out at this moment where some of y'all feel as y'all got the guy, so now you telling me because y'all hit a rough patch that some of y'all internally in the locker room are not feeling that Caleb's the guy and that, DJ Moore, because you're missing Justin Fields? Get over it, bro. Get over it. Get over the fact that you're missing Justin Fields, who wasn't all fucking world. There's a reason why he was benched again in Pittsburgh. So he's not the guy. Why? Because your numbers looked a little bit better last year and you still did nothing. What? Like, I don't understand it. Like, to me, that's what's going on with Calvin Ridley also in Tennessee. Like, y'all are happy about getting 8 for 130, but you're getting smoked every week. I don't understand that.
But that's on the coaching, man. I mean, that's on the coaching.
Right.
That's on the culture. It's
Right. But it's like, and at some point you gotta want it, bro. Like I'm, and that's why I get it. Yes, the coach is supposed to be the leader of men, a motivator. Like, once again, we agree on that. The players ultimately win the games. And once again, if you have that talent around the quarterback who is the future, regardless of what they feel right now, he is the future. You say, we're about to fucking win these games in spite of who's around us. I'm Keenan Allen. I'm Cole Kmet. I'm DeAndre Swift. Let's go out there and win. And once again, Caleb needs to gain back some of that swag that was going on in the weeks prior to that Washington game. Yeah, I think the graphics show, I think weeks like 5 through 7 or 4 to 6, whatever, he was like passing at like a 75% completion rate. And now it's back to like the 50s and
I honestly don't think it's got anything to do with him. I think the offensive line is the most obvious, but also every
yep,
single behind the quarterback shot that I saw in that Patriots game, and I mean, you guys watched the whole game too. There were no open receivers. The routes that are being drawn up are absolutely diabolically dumb.
yeah,
Like they're calling plays at random too, which is always the death sentence for your team.
And they're cutting off half the field. Like that OC when he was like, "Oh, we're gonna have the line all run to the right."
Oh, just the way
Like,
his lines are just like so.
right?
I'm looking at him. I'm like,
So
wait, you have a
stupid.
stat box. I'm like, we're looking at a stat box at one point. Do you remember this moment? And this is what I've been trying to tell you guys all season. Like you said, I mean, you're not going to intimately watch it as closely as I am, right? Like you talk about the Patriots. I listen to you guys because it's like, well, you're really like looking at him with a microscope. I was looking at him, out of the corner of my eye while there was like a bunch of other games on. Did you see how many times we tried to make a play where the 2 lead blockers were wide receivers? Did you see
Yep.
that happen 3 different times? And I'm like, and it's like, oh, Keenan Allen's got to pick up this block right here. It's like not a sentence that we should be saying. Like it's Keenan Allen. Make him do Keenan Allen shit. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like how many
right.
times did you see him running any kind of like slant route on the 10-yard hash mark? Once.
Mm,
And guess what? He got the ball. And he got 10 yards, and Caleb hit him on a dart. but we never see him there. He's always also Shane Waldron. And I know what you're going to say. I understand what you're going to say, that like it's exactly the opposite of what you were just saying about like pick yourselves up in the locker room, which I do agree. But here's the thing. When you have that many talented wide receivers on your team, your actual only job is like to figure out how to feed all of them. You know, like Caleb should have been presented with it. And this is after his best week, is he said this. Or before his best week, he said this. He was like, I got to find a way to get everybody involved. That's my focus. And I just don't think that's what Shane Waldron's offense is designed to do. I think he's like a cog in a machine type offense guy. He's like, you know, he'd do great with a Tyler Lockett, you know, but I don't know if I don't know if the stud wide receivers we have love being in his system. Rome Odunze is not being used to his full potential. The guy had an insane contested catch rate coming out of college. He's 6 feet tall, or 6'1", right? He's big, he's bulky. Get him in the middle. We could be cutting teams up in the middle with the Keenan Allen, Rome Odunze combo. Cole Kmet, vertical threat, up in the air. Everett, same deal, like down the sidelines. You're right. We have all these guys. And you're looking at the tape, and it's not that Caleb Williams. Sometimes it is. He misses some deep throws. I'll fully say that if we're really criticizing his mechanics. His accuracy on deep balls is borderline abysmal. It has to improve. His decision making, I think, has obviously regressed, but there's no one to throw the ball to. There's nobody to throw the ball to out there. And because none of them are getting open, because none of them are running the routes that they're supposed to be running, he doesn't know how to use the personnel he has. You know, he finally realized DeAndre Swift was the same DeAndre Swift we have thousands of hours of tape on before they got him. But at the start of the season, he was like, let's run him north-south. No, Roschon, you sit down. DeAndre Swift's going to be our north-south runner. He's really going to be like our goal line back. He said that sentence. Come on, bro. I'm just sitting on the couch. I'm watching DeAndre Swift. I know how to use DeAndre Swift. He finally figured that out too little too late. Those are simple errors. That's coaching.
But then he abandoned it in this game too, because if you've been watching, again, Ray and I talk about this every week.
He thinks DeAndre Swift is Najee Harris. It just doesn't make any sense.
Every running back that's played against faced the Patriots in the last 4 weeks is 110 yards apiece, and they're just rushing it to the outside. So that's exactly what DeAndre Swift's bread and butter is outside sweep zones, those things. So
it worked every time we did it. It worked every time we did it.
Because we're undersized on the outside right now. So it's wild to me when you have a running back that has that playmaking ability. You say, "Oh, they're just gonna run him up the middle."
Oh, it's crazy.
It doesn't make any sense.
But to that point, right? And I know that we've already tapped into coaching and we talked about scheming, but the scheming is the best it looked. I'm talking about on the New England side all year, except early on.
Because it's really easy to scheme against this Chicago Bears team.
No, but it's just and once again, I'm not going to invalidate that statement because of how you feel about them right now and how they play. So I feel this New England team has been a joke all year, and that's putting it lightly. So for them to use someone like Schooler and shout out to Phil Perry, because Phil Perry said something that I thought was super profound, because it's something we would have said about Bill, and we should be saying it about Mayo and Covington today. The fact that they chose to use someone who was not on tape outside of special teams, which is Brendan Schooler, and Brendan Schooler came in there on a few packages and lit them up. Had a couple sacks, did great on special teams. Like, versatility is what used to be our calling card up here, right? Yeah. So now you got someone that's being versatile, right, on the field in Brendan Schooler. You got Giannis Antetokounmpo being versatile. Farms comes out of nowhere. it gets to use a line from Training Day. He was real surgical with the shit, Jake. He was real surgical yesterday. So once again, we have been screaming, mainly Mike more than me in this regard, have been screaming for the defense to fucking finally play. And yesterday, finally, they looked like how they did early on. And it's weird because they look a lot better on the road outside of the San Francisco game. They just look a lot better on the road than they do at home. And maybe it's...
we're a terrible home team. It was a great looking win defensively.
Mm-hmm.
I agree. But I don't think it was the Patriots' defensive prowess that won this game. I really do think it was the fact that you have a team in Chicago that has a bunch of stars that don't want to play for the coach. And I'll just pose this question.
Can it be true though? Can it be both?
I think
we
both
could have,
Yeah,
we
I
could have
think
had we did have a really good game. And also, like, if we played that exact same type of game against another 4-4 team like the Arizona Cardinals, do you think that it would have been the 19-3 us? No. And I would argue that Arizona has less talent offensively than Chicago does.
That I mean, sure. I mean, obviously, Harrison and Connor, and I think it's Ertz is over there, right? No, Ertz is in Washington. I don't know what their tight end is, but either one.
Pride.
He's good.
Oh, right, yeah. So
Yeah.
I mean, it's like they're surprisingly starting to figure it out offensively, which I guess is what they
Tyler's
envisioned.
red zone efficiency is absolutely bonkers. He's
Right.
like legitimately a lethal red zone quarterback.
Yeah,
I mean,
this
parallel.
was a few years ago with DeAndre, and then they blew that up. So let's see. I still, I'm like, to me, the jury's still out on them. Once again, has he played better? Absolutely. So I'll give credit where it's due. But I don't know. I just think, to me, I don't know. Like I said, maybe I'm overhyping it, and I guess for this week it's deserved. But like I said, we've been waiting for them to make plays, because even on time they should have made plays on certain guys. Against the Dolphins, it's hella fucking Hundley. They couldn't. So I just can't accept that it was a team that quit on or whatever. I mean, I can accept it because that's probably true.
Right.
I'm like, we've seen too many moments this year where they should have gotten something done and they didn't. So I just want to
But not even though, because
they should have.
I mean, with the it was almost a perfect storm, these two teams meeting. It was a real good inflection point. I was saying this to Mike in the Discord. It was a really good inflection point for me, because it was like, but both things being true at the same time is the case, because there's pieces of tape where, like, at one point we pick off Drake May with one of the most diabolical passes I've seen in the entire NFL season this season. And like, it's like, dude, you were looking right at him. Even the commentator was like, he was looking right fucking at him. I don't know what the fuck happened there. Like, maybe he was trying to drop it in over I don't know. But he was like on the run. It was like his weight was off.
He was trying to be chasing on Charlie, but I'm like, yo, throw it out a fucking bounds. What are you doing?
Yeah.
Right.
The cover two guys right there, bro.
He's
gonna pick that off. Like, it's gonna happen. So that's all that, that happens. Carter runs back like a 50-yard kickoff, turnovers, good special teams play, good defensive play. The Bears looking like the Bears for like snippets of like 15, 20 seconds here and there. But the offense is so bad. It's so bad that Drake May has an opportunity to come out and be like, I'm gonna throw the worst interception of anyone's season so far, and I'm still gonna be the best quarterback in this game. So like the pressure dial is off him a little bit, because he's able to go out and then, quite frankly, put up a pretty decent game after that. He recovered pretty well. Something I saw early from Caleb, like throwing a really bad pick and then recovering, the big part of it, like shaking it off. And he did that. And, your running game was pretty consistent. You still have to beat the team. You still have to come out and beat it. It wasn't another version of this game exists where both teams are so fucking slap happy and bad that it's just like a comic. It's comedy. You're watching it and it's just like, who's better at losing? It's one of those contests, which this game had a possibility of being. But at least the Patriots were like, no, we know how to win a game of football. They're giving us this opportunity, but they also still have to take the opportunity, as cliche as it is. So yeah, they still did what they're trying to do. They also played a lot of really good fundamental football, which a game like this, when you're playing a team as dysfunctional as the Bears and your roster is as light as it is, like all those conversations already happened on this podcast, then you can kind of just be like, everybody needs to like get all the simple things right. And we're going to play really good fundamental football. And then we'll be able to beat this really dysfunctional, mistake prone team. I mean, the amount of false starts we have, for God's sake, we always say that's on coaching. It's like, we will hand it to you. But yeah, both things can be true.
Yeah. The biggest, I think, revelation of what you just said, Dave, was at the end of the first half, excuse me. I think New England's up 10-3 at that moment. They're up 10-3 or 10-0. No, they're up 10-3. And May throws a dart to Rayshawn Buchanan, gets the first down, hurries everyone up to the line. Montez Sweat is just kind of like jogging, like the half is over, pulls up, and then Drake May, clocks it, gets another 5 yards. Joey Slye makes the field goal, and I was like, wow. I was like, they actually took advantage of the team making a mistake. Because once again, we haven't seen it, Dave. Like my heart is full today.
We made so many.
We haven't seen it. We haven't seen it. So it's just like,
you hear the stadium? Do you hear the fucking stadium? Like it was toxic. You could cut the toxicity in Soldier Field.
Yeah.
They were booing Caleb in the second quarter.
I don't know if
I
they're
don't know if
booing
they were
Caleb.
booing him.
I don't
If they
think
were
they're
booing
booing.
the call.
Well, they're definitely blowing the team. Once again, it's 20 possessions now in a row. When I start slaying. So it was that might be hyperbole, but it's close. And it's just like that's what they're booing. And once again, I don't
Right.
blame them because once again, when you had the roster that was put together, once again, week 10 should not be the point that you're quitting. I mean, it might have been before that, but I'm like,
That's
Yeah,
why.
right. I think that teams needed 4 games to figure out Shane Waldron's offense and make it completely non-functional. You know, it's not like something just happened. You know, something didn't just fall out of the sky. They got 4 or 5 games of tape on his Chicago Bears offense, and people with actual football minds were like, "Oh, okay, yeah, let's just beat them." You know what I mean? Like I don't know, man. It's just like they're not operating on a high level. You know, they're just not. I mean,
But-
even if you look over at Denver, like and how they, I mean, it comes down to one play at the very end. I know people are sick about it. Like they thought they were going to hand them their first loss, but that's because Sean Payton's operating at a high, like mental level, like coaching a team. You know, like even if that roster is, you'd rather have that situation. You'd rather have a really good football coach and a worse roster than a good roster and a fucking terrible football coach, because that's what we have, and it looks bad, doesn't it? It's ugly.
It does. As this couple weeks ago, this was probably the last like penciled in win that the Bears had this year because now they enter the hardest remaining schedule in the NFL. So, DK, not to kick you any down.
No,
Is
no,
there
I'm
any,
good.
Is there any chance that your team wins 8 games?
4-13.
You really think so?
Well, yeah, nobody losing.
I'm actually hoping for it. That's what I'm hoping for. I'm keeping my fingers crossed for 4-13. If we win another game, I'm gonna keep my fingers crossed for 5-13.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
That's bad.
I mean, unless
Yeah.
they fire Eberflus. You know, I mean, at the end of the day,
Well,
I genuinely think like we could. I mean, there's a bulletin board message you could do to this team right now, right? There's a version of a guy with a message, a version of a message, a concept of a plan to go into this locker room right now, this week, and turn to all the players and say, this is the situation that you're in, and this is how we're going to improve it. And the big piece of bulletin board material is everyone thinks you're going to lose out because you have the hardest strength of schedule for the remaining. But you guys honestly have been acting like a bunch of pussies, beating the Carolina Panthers and then doing dumb shit like you did in that Commanders game. A game where you looked pretty good, by the way. You looked like you were on the level of the Commanders, who looked like they were on the level of the Steelers, who looked like they were, and so on, right? So you've looked like it at times this year. Look like it again. Take Ray's message. Don't be such a bitch. And get back on the bus, guys. We're going to play the games. We're going to play the games. So what do you want to look like out there when we go play the games? Do you want to look like fucking assholes? Because that's what you look like for the past few weeks. Or do you want to look like people who can do their fucking jobs that they're paid a lot of money to do? There's a few men out in the world sitting there right now that could come in and deliver that message. Even if you bring them in on an interim basis or whatever you do, it's an emergency right now. You fire Matt Eberflus now. You fire the entire coaching staff now. And you call, I mean, everybody knows the names I'm going to say, Mike Vrabel. You call Ron Rivera, former Bear. You should have had Jim Harbaugh in the offseason, but like whatever, that ship has sailed.
Former Bear as well.
Yeah, former Bear as well. It would have been a perfect story. He would have come. And you know, I leave that, but they don't want these type of people in there because the people above him are scared of people like that. Because we haven't had a person like that be our head coach realistically since Mike Ditka. But a lot of people in the Bears fan community are bringing up the fact that Lovie Smith was the last coach with a winning record here, and they fired him with a 10-6, coming off the back of a 10-6 record and having been to a Super Bowl. So,
Why?
you know, I mean, I wonder why. So, you know, here we are, and we're in this situation. And
you mean like a total win?
no, he didn't get fired right after the Super Bowl. I didn't mean to make it sound like that. He came off a 10-6 season and he got fired, and he was a coach that had brought them to a Super Bowl by now. So, yeah, I know it sounds crazy. 10-6 and he gets fired. I know. But
Didn't John Fox get him to the NFC title game?
no, he did.
Sure.
Yes.
With Jay Cutler? Oh, that was the divisional game.
That was a divisional game.
Yeah,
we lost
okay,
to the
right.
we lost to the Green Bay
Packers.
Packers. So, I mean, I don't know. You know, John Fox was terrible. Matt Eberflus is terrible. Matt Nagy was terrible. I don't know. I don't know what to do because we won't. They're all the same version of this, different versions of the same guy.
Can you imagine Jim Harbaugh with Caleb Williams? That offense would just be
look at the Chargers.
unbelievable.
Even Bill being there would be amazing.
Bill, another name.
Unless he brought in Patricia.
No, he'd bring Josh though. He'd bring Josh over there with him, and they'd go from there.
That'd be fine. That'd be
Yeah.
perfectly fine. Here's how I used to make Tom Brady do it. Would be a great thing for Caleb Williams to hear right now. I'm also really I'm really just a little bit upset. I mean, this is hindsight. I didn't say we should do this at the time. I did say we should fire Eberflus. I did say that we should bring in Harbaugh, but I didn't say that we should go and get a veteran quarterback this coming season to be able to take the pressure off of Caleb Williams, not to like bench him for performances or whatever, to just be like, don't worry about it. I got you. I got your back. Tyson Bagent's great and all, but like, and I also think Tyson Bagent should be the quarterback right now, just because I think that Caleb Williams is out there getting murdered. The fact that he's been in for the last 2 minutes of the last 2 games is evidence enough alone to fire Matt Eberflus. He's literally going to let the asset get hurt at this point. You know what I mean? With that offensive line, he's in there until the very end. Like, get out of here.
You sound like me.
It's crazy, though. It's crazy to watch. You're like, damn, dude, he's going to get sacked. He got up hobbling at the end of the Cardinals game. And he was fine, luckily. But it's like, why is he in there? Like, we've already lost.
Well,
I don't know.
you'll feel good knowing that your coach came out today and commits to Caleb Williams as the starting quarterback for the remainder of the season. So, in case that was ever in doubt, I mean, it just shows how.
Why is team still making decisions for my team? Why is that still his job? I mean, I like Ryan Pauls, to be honest with you. I think like I said before, that the fact that he went and got a lot of players that I like, he built a team that I like. But if he's in some sort of weird prearranged package deal with Matt Eberflus, like, then they can both fuck off. I don't care. But we'll just go get a bunch more people that are actually good at their jobs. I'll let Bill be the GM. I don't give a fuck. Like, let's go.
You don't want that. Yeah, you don't want that. You don't want that. All right, so let's move on to Week 11 picks. Let's hope we get a little more spirited here. It starts with Thursday night football. This is going to be it should be a great game. The Washington Commanders at the Philadelphia Eagles. Philly is a 3-point favorite. Ray, who do you get?
I say Washington bounces back and they get it down the road. So I'm gonna go with the Commanders.
I'm going to be hoping for Ray's outcome, but I feel like the Eagles are kind of trucking right now. But because it's a Thursday night game, I think it sort of favors the Eagles. I don't know why I think that. Maybe because I've seen the Commanders be really bad on Thursday night before against the Bears, which is hard to do. I'm going to take the Eagles.
I'm going to go with the Commanders. I think Jaden Daniels, this is not a shot at your guy. I'm sorry, because we have a guy too at number 3. I think Jaden Daniels is the best quarterback of this draft class so far. It looks that way so far. And he's he's in like the middle tier too. He doesn't have the best setup, like not the greatest talent around him, but he has a very competent head coach. I don't know about offensive coordinator. You always say that he's never had a winning record in the second half. So let's see what happens. Let's see what happens this year. Sorry, Dave. Next matchup is Green Bay at Chicago. Based on what you just said, you think Green Bay is going to win?
Oh, yeah, definitely. This is going to be a real insult to injury game for sure, especially if Eberflus is still the coach. I don't even know if I'm going to be able to watch it, to be honest.
Right?
Yeah, I mean, Green Bay, like I said, they're trending in the right direction. So I know they're coming off a bye as well. So I think Green Bay wins. Yeah,
I'll take the Bears to cover, but I'm going to take Green Bay to win the game.
What game did you watch this weekend? Jesus.
I just
cover my household history.
Divisional games, man. You never know. I think the Packers will win, but I mean, 6 points. Jacksonville at Detroit. Detroit is a 13-point favorite.
Too low.
Mac Jones is going to go in there and get his ass handed to him by that Detroit defense.
So, hey, damn, he was awful. And now he's gonna be in the rest of the year because Trevor Lawrence is out for the year. And then you just kind of feel that was gonna happen, where he was gonna.
I thought it was gonna happen in the London game. So I hope
I would. So it's just like that to me. It's poetic justice in a way. I mean, once again, you don't want to see guys get hurt, but I'm just glad that he came out and showed why we got rid of his ass. Because once again, people were on their knees in the preseason. Oh, Mac Jones is making a great throw. I'm like, once again, I guess guys that will be saying, do you want to supersize your fries in 2 weeks?
Jesus.
Out of here. Like let's be real. So I'm happy that he got exposed. We up here knew he sucked. This whole show knew that he sucked. So now you guys get to see it.
Hold on. It would not be fair if I didn't remind everybody that I was fighting with Dave for a very long time about how Mac Jones would be a competent quarterback in the league. Dave was right. I was wrong. Let's put up another one for the good guys. So Jacksonville, we're all taking Detroit in this game.
Absolutely.
Can I
Is
just
anyone going to pick them to cover?
I was going to pick Jacksonville to cover because
juggle's the right word.
With the exception of the Bears, ironically, they only barely lost to the other two teams they're playing in the NFC North this year. The Vikings and the Packers lost by less than a touchdown to both teams. And the Lions are also good. So just in that upside down world, I would probably just take the Jags to cover. But obviously the Lions are going to fucking destroy them.
Yeah.
That
Minnesota at Tennessee. Minnesota's only a 6-point favorite. Sam Darnold has been looking shaky. As you know, I've started him at quarterback in fantasy league the last 3 weeks, and I'm pretty sure I'm 0-3. I mean, but their team's still rolling. Are they 7-2?
Yeah.
8-2? Yeah.
So yeah.
I'm taking Minnesota. Right?
Yeah. Clean sweep, Minnesota.
Yeah, Vikings are probably going to win, but I did tell you about Sam Darnold.
You do. Yeah. That's when I picked him up.
But it's when they can plug their guy in. When they can plug their guy in next season, they still have a roster worth checking out, obviously. So
I don't know that JJ McCarthy is better than Sam Darnold. I don't know it.
I don't know either. But we'll see. I know that Zach Wilson is better than Aaron Rodgers if you look at the numbers.
That's all I probably love that stat.
As a Jets QB.
Vegas at Miami. I mean, I gotta take Miami in this game. Miami's 7 points.
Yeah, I think they're looking better, right? How are they doing right now? Like as we speak, they're up 10-6 on the Rams, so they can at least move the ball again. Down to 2 is
they are 2-6.
They literally could not move the ball when he was hurt at all. So, and it looks like Tyreek's playing tonight, so that hopefully means he's playing next week.
With a fracture.
So yeah, I still like the offense that they have down there in Miami. They'll win.
Right?
Fuck Miami. I'm going with Vegas.
Good for you.
They're so bad though.
They are. Miami sucks too.
So the Rams at New England is a pick-up at this point. It's a home game. I'm taking the Rams.
Yeah.
I mean, had the Patriots done anything to make you believe that they're going to win at home? No.
I mean, outside of meltdown, no.
Correct.
Well, I mean, once again, I would love to be proved wrong here, but I doubt it.
Cleveland at New Orleans. New Orleans is a 1-point favorite.
No way.
I mean,
no way.
You think it's Cleveland?
Absolutely. I'm right. Give me James. It's like,
Jameis does love his revenge games.
Yeah,
does love those.
Give me Jameis. It's in the Superdome.
Yeah.
Or so right here in the Silverdome, brother.
I gotta go with Jameis too.
If you know, you know. But
I gotta go with Jameis too. He loves that first matchup against his whole team.
Yeah.
Yeah, fucking Houdat said they were gonna beat them Saints. Fucking everybody, and they were right. I'll take the Browns also. Sorry, it's not week 2 anymore. New Orleans Saints fans.
They went from scoring on every single possession for the first 2 weeks to then losing 7 straight games. So
I'm too hard on them. I like a lot of their players too. Is the thing. Like I like Kamara. I like those guys down there. But like we all knew they were.
Yeah, hopefully, Crystal Lobby gets better. So I know he's out with a concussion. So hopefully he gets better. So. Mm-hmm.
Joe Flacco travels to New Jersey to face Aaron Rodgers in the 2-7. 3-7. 3-7 New York Jets. The Jets are favored by 3.5 points. Give me Indy.
Yeah, I'll take Indy. The Jets are so bad.
It's almost by default to take Indianapolis, but I'm like, they have not looked good with Flacco the last few weeks.
Yeah, that's true.
they're just boring. Like
I wouldn't bet
they're
on this game, to be honest with you. I wouldn't
No.
put any anywhere near this game because they're both so bad. You don't even know who's gonna.
Yeah, like
4-6
yeah,
versus 3-7.
it ain't numbers by default, but it's like they're not much better than the Jets right now. They're not.
You know what though? Like the worst part of the Colts team is their run defense, and I feel like Breece Hall's still good. Like he still has moments when he's like correctly fed. So yeah, your first thought is that kid Allen, the rookie, is really good too, I think. So I think your first thought is to be like, oh well, it's like Aaron Rodgers. He sucks and he's not as good as blah 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 blah. Those conversations we all have, but their running game is still good, and the Colts can't stop the run. So actually, if I was to bet, I would probably bet on the Jets.
All right. I'm still taking the
Love
Colts.
that.
Fuck Aaron Rodgers.
I know. We all hate the Jets for different reasons.
Ravens at Steelers. The Ravens are a 3.5-point favorite. DK.
Big game.
game.
I'm obviously taking the Steelers. Obviously, I mean, for good
Would you
reason.
bet on them?
Yeah, totally, 100%. The Ravens have looked like they still have that thing where they leave the back door open. They've stomped a lot of teams this year, and they played really good against good teams. So I think it's going to be a really good game. But that Steelers Commanders game was a absolute barn burner. It was right down to the last seconds, fumbles at the goal line, had it all. So for me, I think the Steelers defense is as good as I thought that the Steelers defense was, but also their offense is good now too. I thought that Mike Williams pickup was inspired. Why? Because I said that's what they should do, and then they did it. So because I feel like it was my idea, I think it was genius. So
Love that.
yeah, Russ looks like Russ. It's like official. He actually looks like the real Russell Wilson. Whatever imposter was inhabiting his body in Denver has been exhumed, exercised, and now he's Russell
Once
Wilson.
again, 26-8 last year. You tell me what quarterback would that
I
be,
know.
bro.
Like, and he
once
sat
again,
the last 2 games, right?
It's in such a
Right.
better situation now. Like obviously,
Oh no, of course, but I'm saying, but like, there's no quarterback that we would say with 26 touchdowns, 8 picks, we would say is a scrub. And like you said, they played the
No,
last.
I don't think he was a scrub. I just think that he was.
No, not
also,
you. I'm saying collectively, that was being put up there like he's washed, he's this, and I'm just like,
But didn't he look way less athletic than he does now? Like, didn't he look like he couldn't maybe move around like that, like he does now?
I think when you're playing for someone who doesn't intrinsically believe in you, it shows in your play, right? And I think that's what happened with him there in Denver. I also think that he really didn't want to leave Seattle initially, and I think that sometimes that shows up there too. So when you don't want to leave, you're kind of you're mad about how it happened, and then on top of that, you become the scapegoat for why your team is losing. Yeah. There's a lot of negative, interactions there. So now to be there with a coach that believes in you, with a coach that's a strong leader in that sense, always has been, always will be. So yeah, you're seeing what I thought he would be a few years ago, what he still was. So yeah, it's cool to get vindicated again for this season. But yeah, I'm a ride with Pittsburgh as this one as well.
I would
I'll
just
stick-
one more thing
I'll
on
stick
that
Pittsburgh.
subject. Apologies, but whatever does happen in this game, the Steelers are still going to be the team that's leaving with 2 quarterbacks that have won games for them this season that are both getting paid like $2 million. So, that's just great. Like, what other team has that going for them? So I think, I just really think they're savvy over there. And I think that to your point, Ray, about the playing for a coach that wants you, it's very evident to me that Arthur Smith wanted Russell Wilson for his offense. And that's why the transition was as smooth as it was, because he was like, once he comes back, I need him to play a quarterback for my team because the offense is designed for Russell Wilson.
Right.
And Justin Fields, I thought, did a great job. And I think this will be really, really great for his career. And I still think he can step up and be the guy there. But you can tell Arthur Smith really likes having Russell Wilson as his quarterback. And it's really nice to watch offenses when that's the situation.
1.5.
Now, Atlanta going into Denver. This could be a sneaky game. I'm gonna pick the Broncos.
Yep.
At home.
Yep. Around with Denver too.
Okay.
Yeah, that's okay, sure. I don't really like the Broncos, but the Falcons have looked worse than I thought they were gonna, and the Broncos have looked better than I thought they were gonna, it's the most annoying game on the slate for me. Sure. Yeah, let's take the Broncos. Falcons are pissing me off.
Seattle at San Francisco. San Francisco 6.5-point favorites, but now that McCaffrey's back, Debo's back, I'd have to go with San Fran. Seattle's like the bottom's fallen off out of that team.
Yeah, if it was like 3 weeks ago, I might say the Seahawks, but they just haven't really looked like they have it at all.
I don't trust San Francisco skilled players to get through the game. Just don't. I'm going with the upset. I'm going with Seattle.
Oh, big call.
I don't trust the skilled players to get through the game healthily. Once again, I want to see the better team, but yeah.
Also, didn't someone have with Debo? Did he like punch somebody?
Yeah, that was pretty awesome. Well, not
Yeah.
awesome, but it was pretty funny to see on the sideline.
But it was Jacob? I missed that. It was his teammate? I missed that completely.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
it was like his kicker or long snapper, right?
Yep.
Yeah,
Okay.
and then after that, the kicker went on to make the kick. So
Right. Exactly.
Fine.
Well, I guess
It's
maybe
fine.
it worked. Yeah.
we have
You know?
this is probably gonna be the game of the week. The 9-0 Kansas City Chiefs going into Buffalo, face the Bills. Bills are 2.5-point favorites. If there is one thing that Josh Allen knows how to do, it's beat Patrick Mahomes when it doesn't really count. So I do want to go towards Buffalo, but I'm going to pick the Chiefs. I just think they're going to get better every week.
How do you bet against them?
Right.
Like,
Well,
they're winning.
They're underdogs. That's crazy.
Well, that's. I mean,
Guess they're on the
Some
road.
stuff is basically picking, like you would say, like that. That's a joke.
Right.
We don't know if Amari Cooper's going to be healthy. We don't know what you're going to get from Keon Coleman. You don't
Josh
know.
Allen, outrageous right now, though. Like, he really does.
He's playing great. So Dev taxes and losing to Mahomes. I'm going with Kansas City.
Love that. Bengals at Chargers for Sunday Night Football. Chargers are 1.5-point favorite.
That could be the game of the week too.
I gotta take the Bengals. Like because if they lose this week, I think they're done. It's over.
Yeah.
And I don't think their season's ending in November. So I got to bet on them.
Yeah.
Chargers look like a healthier team right now. The Bengals' body language is really rough to watch this past weekend. I feel like the Chargers are trending in the right direction, to use a Rayism, comparatively to the Bengals, but I'm going to take the Chargers.
So yes,
Right.
yeah. I thought I said sorry. Cincinnati. I'm going with the Bengals too.
All right. And final game is Monday Night Football. This was going to be an all-star matchup at the beginning of the
Texans.
season.
End of conversation.
This is what it is now. Houston at Dallas.
Cowboys look so bad, dude.
I mean, they put Trey Lance in for like the fourth quarter. That's how bad.
I mean, they had to. There was a circuit back.
Well, I don't. That fall from grace meaning where Trey Lance needs to be studied, because when he was in North Dakota State and now basically looking like me at a YMCA game is unbelievable. Unbelievable. He had the arm, he had the legs, and I'm just like, I don't understand. Like I don't get it. Like that it's unbelievable how bad he's looked. And to answer your question that you asked us in the group chat, he was like, is Trey Lance actually good at football? Because someone I'm posing, but is he actually good? Because he's not out there. Like, his Cooper Rush is not much better. Yeah, Cooper Rush.
Yeah, Cooper Rush missed a 5-yard out when he wasn't being pressured. Like, he couldn't throw the ball 5 yards to CeeDee Lamb.
Yeah.
So that's big volumes about Trey Lance. But what I will say, gentlemen, we are really going over tonight. So thank you for listening to this whole thing. But I will say, with the lopsided of a schedule as it is this coming week, that just means there's going to be a good amount of upsets. So that should be fun, because it does look like a pretty shitty schedule. But that just means we're going to get some wild upsets. For DK Sizzle, Dave Clarke, for Hollywood, Rayshawn Buchanan, Michael Marcangelo saying thank you so much for listening to Missing the Point. Talk to you in the Power Ranking Show.
Have you ever wondered what actually happens in Congress every day? Stay informed on Capitol Hill's daily happenings with a concise, factual summary of the Senate and House of Representatives' activities from the previous session, free from bias, on the Congressional Record Daily Digest podcast. Subscribe on your favorite podcast platform and discover the process from the heart of U.S. politics. The Congressional Record Daily Digest, an Electricast production.
Electricast. Hi, I'm Mark.
And I'm Peter.
We're the founders of Electrocast Media, bringing you great podcasts like Nightmare Road Stories, Tech Talk Revolution, and Bodacious Minds.
Electrocast networks include Ruby for female empowerment, the Best Business Network, and GPN for geopolitics. We built this company to create community and amplify diverse voices, and we really appreciate your support.
So keep listening to Electrocast podcasts and hear the culture.
Electrocast. Electrocast.